You know someone like this. He overflows with brilliant ideas, innovative startups he'll launch someday, life-changing art projects he'll unveil when the time is right, travel adventures he'll embark on as soon as the perfect plan materializes. He has dreams so grand they shimmer in his eyes, as if he were born for something extraordinary. He talks passionately about building empires, saving the world with technology, revolutionizing art and culture. His words paint a canvas so captivating you almost believe in his limitless potential. And yet, nothing ever lands. He lives on possibilities, forever circling the runway of almost ready but never taking off. Projects stall at the prototype phase. Business plans remain slides in his laptop. Novel drafts gather dust in a folder labeled draft. Relationships ignite with intensity, only to fizzle out when commitment knocks at the door. Every time you ask, "Hey, what happened to your last idea?" he flashes that signature grin and shrugs. "It wasn't the right time. I needed a different partner. The world isn't ready for me yet." Perhaps he's your childhood friend, the boy who promised to build a rocket in his backyard and never got past blueprint sketches. Maybe he's your younger brother, who still sees the family home as his personal playground. Maybe he's your boyfriend, sweet, creative, yet perpetually out of reach when real talk about the future arises. Or maybe, heartbreakingly, he's your father, someone who once brimmed with promise but never truly anchored himself in adulthood. Emotionally, he's arrested, an adult who still behaves like a boy. He craves freedom and flees from responsibility. Deadlines terrify him. Schedules suffocate him. Bill payments? He ignores them until the late notices pile up. Relationship milestones? He vanishes as soon as "I love you" becomes "let's plan our lives." And you, faithful, hopeful, endlessly patient, you cling to the fantasy that he will one day break free from this cycle. Carl Jung named this psychic pattern Puer Aeternus, the eternal boy. It's an archetype found across cultures and eras, the young hero forever bound to the paradise of childhood, unwilling or unable to cross the threshold into the challenging world of adulthood. In myth, he's Icarus, drawn to the sun by youthful hubris, yet tragically unprepared for the consequences of flying too high. He's Peter Pan, forever refusing to grow up, living in the safety of Neverland, while the real world moves on without him. On the surface, Puer's charm is irresistible. He enchants with his youthful energy, lively conversation, spontaneous bursts of creativity, a boundless imagination that makes the mundane seem magical. He brings color to gray days, excitement to routine moments. In his presence, you feel alive, inspired, possibilities suddenly within reach. He invites you to dream wide awake. But behind this enchantment lurks a deeper shadow. Puer Aeternus embodies an instinctive refusal to deal with life's unavoidable demands. Responsibility, perseverance, sacrifice, and the steady grind of daily effort. He expects life to conform to his desires, to mold itself around his vision of the perfect dream. When reality falls short, he sees it as the problem. The timing is off. The system is flawed. Other people are the culprits. He never looks in the mirror at his own fear of failure. If you've ever tried to help someone like this, you know how exhausting it can be. You offer advice, concrete steps to move forward. You offer support, a listening ear, a helping hand. You cheer him on when he falters, but your words echo into a void. He nods politely, promises he'll try, then drifts away into the next big idea. Worse, he makes you feel guilty for daring to expect action. How can you demand he commit when you know deep down that no one cares for him the way you do? You question your own standards. Am I too harsh? Am I stifling his creativity? Should I accept that this is just who he is? Here's the brutal truth. Puer Aeternus is trapped in a fantasy of freedom that, in practice, is a prison of fear and immaturity. He wants to soar without ever building wings. He wants to taste the sweetness of success without touching the bitterness of hard work. He insists on being the special one, too unique for ordinary routines, while refusing to endure the very challenges that shape and strengthen the human spirit. And if he doesn't wake up, he will age, chronologically, biologically, yet remain psychologically a boy, never having truly lived. His potential will remain untapped, his dreams unfulfilled, his relationships shallow, and his life a series of what-ifs, forever hovering on the brink of reality but never stepping across. This video is not an attack. It's a mirror. If you're still with me, it's because a part of you recognizes this pattern. Perhaps it's someone close to you. Perhaps it's even yourself. The journey of Puer Aeternus can lead to stagnation, or it can be the springboard to something greater. Real change begins when we face the truth head-on, that refusing to grow up is not freedom. It's self-imposed exile. In the next chapter, we will delve into the mythic roots of the eternal boy, exploring how Jung's insights into the collective unconscious reveal both the magnetic allure and the hidden peril of this archetype. Only by understanding its ancient origins can we begin to chart a path toward true maturity and reclaim the life that waits beyond the bubble of fantasy. Centuries before modern psychology, storytellers spun tales of the young god who refuses the throne, the hero who never leaves the cradle, the boy who flies but never lands. These myths echo in Jung's concept of Puer Aeternus, the eternal boy, an archetypal figure etched into the collective human psyche. From Icarus soaring too close to the sun, to Peter Pan defying time in Neverland, to Dionysus dancing on the edge of permanence, Puer's essence transcends cultures and epochs. Jung discovered that within every man, and indeed every life, lies this powerful pattern. Puer Aeternus draws its energy from the mythic realm of youth. Boundless creativity, fearless exploration, and the conviction that anything is possible. He is the living symbol of potential unbound, a force of pure becoming. But pure becoming, unguided by the grounding of reality, becomes perpetual becoming, a loop of almost there, without ever arriving. In classical mythology, Puer emerges as the son of the gods, destined for greatness, too innocent for earthly cares. He embodies divine spontaneity, a spark of light that ignites change but risks burning out when left unchecked. Icarus's waxen wings melt, not because the sun is merciless, but because hubris distracts him from the practical, like Puer, intoxicated by possibility, ignoring the laws of physics. Peter Pan is Puer in modern dress, forever young, forever carefree. He refuses to grow up, believing adulthood equals tyranny. Yet Neverland's joys are shallow, without the depth of real love, real loss, real history. Puer's paradise is beautiful but ultimately barren. No legacy, no roots, only infinite play. Jung saw that Puer's archetype surfaces when a man remains psychologically tethered to the psychic womb. This psychic womb is a sanctuary where maternal care solves every problem, shields every wound, and nourishes every dream. In that world, there are no failures, only endless second chances. But real life demands first attempts, mistakes, hard-won lessons. In his therapy sessions, Jung encountered countless men whose inner dialogues echoed Puer's refrain. I'm waiting for the right moment. These clients often appeared intelligent and ambitious, until it was time to act. Then they would vanish into research rabbit holes, endless debates, or romantic distractions. The flame of their calling flickered, but never caught flame. Psychologically, Puer's refusal to mature reflects a deep fear of individuation, the process of becoming a unique self. Individuation requires integrating both light and shadow, making conscious choices, and facing existential anxieties. Puer's enchantment with freedom masks a terror, that freedom without structure leads to chaos, and chaos can destroy. Yet within this archetype also lies immense creative potential. When harnessed by a grounded psyche, Puer's energies fuel invention, art, and visionary leadership. The spark of youthful wonder inspires entire generations. Steve Jobs, for instance, embodied Puer's creative fire. Yet he also forged the discipline to steer his vision into reality. When Puer integrates with the Senex, the mature, realistic partner archetype, magic happens. Inspiration meets execution. But most Puer-dominant personalities never find this partner within. They remain locked in the in-between, too old to play, too young to lead. Their life becomes a shadow of myth, a tragic echo of stories where youth's promise goes unfulfilled. To break free, one must first recognize Puer's influence, those moments of seductive idealism, hiding a silent flight from responsibility. One must also honor the archetype's gifts, its spark of wonder, while inviting its counterpart, the Senex, to bring structure, ritual, and accountability. In the next section, we will dive into Puer's shadow, the dark consequence of living in eternal adolescence. We'll explore how unchallenged fantasy morphs into a prison, how the fear of failure becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, and how Puer's greatest gift can turn into his greatest. Every hero's light casts a shadow. And for the eternal boy, that shadow is a fantasy prison of his own making. His visionary mind conjures grand castles in the air, only to trap him behind walls of what if and someday. Carl Jung warned that what we refuse to live through, we will live through in our shadow. For Puer Aeternus, refusing the trials of adulthood means living in the echo chamber of unmet dreams. Puer's world is built on idealization, the perfect job that aligns with his essence, the perfect partner who understands him without asking, the perfect life that unfolds effortlessly. In this realm, every obstacle is someone else's fault. Funding is scarce, timing is off, society is blinkered. He believes that once the cosmos realigns, he will blossom. But the cosmos does not bend for anyone. Reality remains steadfast, indifferent, demanding action over daydreams. When reality intrudes, project deadlines loom, bills must be paid, relationships require time. Puer slips into that familiar defense, flight. He abandons projects at the first snag. He ghosts on relationships when intimacy deepens. His excuses become a litany. I'm too ahead of my time. I need a different setting to thrive. They never understood my genius. Beneath these rationalizations lies a deeper truth. He fears the pain of failure. Failure, for Puer, is a wound to his self-image. Better to never attempt than to fall, bleed, and heal. So his untested ideas remain pristine, as perfect in fantasy as they are powerless in practice. This avoidance is self-sabotage. Each abandoned endeavor reinforces his belief that he cannot succeed, fulfilling his own prophecy. He learns to equate maturity with betrayal, betraying the boy within, betraying his sacred, free spirit. His fantasy prison grows tighter. Inner critic scouts the walls. As soon as Puer considers real effort, a voice whispers, "They'll judge you. You're not good enough." Procrastination builds the barrier. He researches endlessly, refines endlessly, plans endlessly, never acting. Excuses reinforce the great. Time, resources, collaborators, any missing piece becomes proof he's not destined to build. This toxic cycle transforms his once brilliant imagination into a weapon, a tool to keep himself small. His creative gift, when unanchored, becomes his greatest liability. Those who love him, family, friends, partners, watch in frustration. They see his raw talent, his electric potential, yet also his pattern of retreat. They offer counsel, accountability, resources. But Puer meets these gestures with guilt-laden deflection. "I appreciate you, but you don't get my vision. I know you mean well, but this isn't your journey. Someday I'll prove you wrong." This loops back. Guilt deepens the shadow, and Puer clings tighter to his mythic self. The emotional cost is steep. Partners feel like spectators, never participants in Puer's life. Friends tire of brainstorming sessions that never yield results. Family mourns the unfulfilled promise of a son or brother. Psychologically, this pattern stunts the emergence of the senex, the mature counterpart who provides structure and wisdom. Puer's shadow repels the very forces that could help him integrate. Discipline, resilience, measured risk-taking. Yet the shadow also carries the keys to freedom. Jung taught that facing our repressed parts dissolves their power over us. For Puer Aeternus, the path out of the fantasy prison begins with acknowledging the pattern. Name the cycle of idealize, freeze, flee. Awareness loosens its grip. Embracing small failures. Start with tiny risks. Publish a short story. Pitch a minor project. Commit to a single date night. Each minor stumble weakens fear's hold. Reframing failure. View falling short not as proof of unworthiness, but as data. A map guiding the next attempt. Integrating the shadow. Invite those silenced voices, fear, doubt, impatience, into dialogue. They hold valuable insights on what matters most. By inviting his shadow to the table, by listening to the messages it carries, Puer transforms his prison into a workshop of growth. The walls no longer confine him. They frame his experimentation. In the next section, we'll explore how Puer's dual nature, his brilliantly creative spark, and his impulsive flight instinct leads to both innovation and evasion. Understanding this tension is crucial to forging a balanced self where inspiration and action dance in harmony. Puer Aeternus carries within him a duality that both dazzles and destroys, the radiant creator versus the restless escapist. This dual nature is the fuel for his mythic allure. His boundless imagination lights fires in the hearts of onlookers, yet it also becomes the engine for his perpetual flight from responsibility. Only by understanding this tension can we begin to channel his gifts without succumbing to his pitfalls? 1. The creative spark. At his best, Puer Aeternus is a fount of inspiration. He taps into the raw energy of possibility, conjuring ideas that seem to come from another realm. Visionary projects. He sketches out concepts for startups, social movements, or artistic collaborations that promise to reshape whole industries or shake up entire cultural landscapes. His friends listen, captivated by his grand plans: a zero-carbon city, a revolutionary app that democratizes education, a performance art piece that redefines human connection. Innovative thinking. In brainstorming sessions, he leaps from topic to topic, connecting seemingly unrelated dots, linking neuroscience to street art, quantum physics to sustainable fashion. His mind moves so quickly that you struggle to keep pace, yet each new association seems electrifying. Spontaneous joy. Puer's enthusiasm is contagious. He throws impromptu gatherings, sparks midnight jam sessions, converts dull routines into adventures. With him, even folding laundry can become a creative ritual. Playlist blasting, neon lights dancing, paper airplanes launched across the living room. In these moments, he is the hero of emergence, the spark that ignites collective creativity. He reminds us that life need not be bounded by convention, that imagination is our greatest currency, that we can build new worlds from the dust of the old. 2. The shadow of flight. Yet beneath this bright spark lies an equally powerful impulse: to flee. Where commitment requires cement, Puer's feet remain skittish. The very traits that make him a fountain of ideas, the restless mind, the rapid-fire energy, the intolerance for monotony, also make him allergic to the structures that turn dreams into reality. Fear of confinement. Even the most thrilling project becomes a cage once the novelty fades. He rebels against schedules, sighs at daily tasks, and imagines deadlines as chains around his creativity. Avoidance of pain. Real progress means facing challenges and setbacks. Puer's inner voice whispers, better to remain in the realm of sparkling possibility than endure the sting of failure. So he abandons ships at the first storm, no matter how promising the voyage. Love of the new. Routine is Puer's kryptonite. Whether it's daily routines, relationship rituals, or project milestones, he craves novelty. After a few weeks, his mind drifts towards something more exciting, and the current endeavor feels like an outdated script. This shadow of flight transforms Puer's gift of spontaneity into a liability. His creative insights burn brightly but briefly, then flicker out at the first sign of structure. What could have been a slow-burning torch for pure innovation remains a fleeting spark, beautiful to witness, but quickly forgotten. 3. Cycle of create. Flee. Restart. The interplay of spark and flight generates a vicious cycle. Ignition. Puer conceives a dazzling idea. Enthusiasm surges, and he commits, in theory, to bring it to life. Resistance. As soon as the mundane work begins, drafting proposals, making cold calls, learning spreadsheets, he feels a tightening in his chest. The creative high collides with reality's requirements. Withdrawal. He rationalizes his exit. I need more time to refine my vision. Or, I'm just ahead of my time. Then, he withdraws, disappearing into another dream. Renewal. After weeks or months, guilt or boredom leads him back to the original project or to a fresh idea, repeating the cycle. This loop feels romantic, like the chase of a muse, but it leaves frustration in its wake. Partners feel ghosted. Colleagues feel betrayed by broken commitments. Friends feel like they're on an emotional roller coaster, never quite sure when Puer will reappear or vanish again. 4. Harnessing the duality, from chaos to creation. For those who love Puer, it's tempting to blame his lack of discipline solely on immaturity. But Jung teaches us to honor the archetype's gifts while integrating its shadow. The key is to provide structure that does not extinguish creativity, micro-commitments. Instead of grand declarations, Puer sets tiny goals. 30 minutes of writing a day, 1 cold call, 1 sketch per morning. Meeting these bite-sized commitments builds confidence and trust in the process. Collaborative accountability. Pair Puer with a counterpart, someone embodying the Senex archetype, the mature elder, the organizer, the realist. Together they form a creative duet. Spark meets scaffolding. Ritualized creativity. Establish rituals that feel playful yet reliable. A weekly creative lab session, complete with music, snacks, and a 15-minute deadline clock. Rituals honor Puer's need for novelty while introducing gentle constraints. These methods help Puer ground his flights of fancy, tethering his wings without clipping them. Over time, he learns that structure is not the enemy of creativity, but its ally. Like train tracks guiding a locomotive toward its destination. Hole 5. Alchemical transformation. When Puer integrates spark and structure, a profound alchemy occurs. Sustainable vision. Big ideas evolve into actionable plans, each fueled by cyclical bursts of inspiration and steady follow-through. Resilient creativity. Puer becomes a wellspring of fresh concepts, yet each concept is tested, refined, and realized. The fear of failure diminishes as each small experiment yields learning. Joyful persistence. The dance of play and discipline transforms routine into ritual, a source of joy rather than drudgery. The paradox: freedom through commitment. In this balanced state, Puer's dual nature ceases to be a curse. It becomes a superpower, the ability to dream expansively and manifest those dreams with rigor. He soars, and this time, he lands. No Puer Aeternus stands alone. Behind every eternal boy, there often sits a devouring mother, a caretaker whose love becomes a psychic chain. Carl Jung described this as the archetypal great mother, nurturing when balanced, but devouring when her care stifles growth. In Puer's case, this mother can manifest in two forms: literal, overprotective parent, a real mother who solves every problem, calls the teacher about missed homework, pays forgotten bills, cushions every failure. He grows up believing life's challenges are someone else's responsibility. Every scraped knee, every broken promise, every "I can't do it" elicits immediate rescue. There's no test of resilience, no lesson learned through struggle. Symbolic caregiver, a partner, friend, or mentor who unconsciously assumes the maternal role, offering constant encouragement, soothing every anxiety, and absorbing every consequence. The relationship feels safe until it becomes suffocating. No one challenges Puer to stand on his own. In this psychic womb, Puer remains eternally an infant. His creative spark burns, but it's fueled by the oxygen of external rescue. The devouring mother believes she is protecting him from pain, but her fear of letting go traps him in perpetual dependence. 1. Dynamics of the devouring bond. Within this bond, 3 key dynamics emerge. Rescue over responsibility. Each time Puer faces a setback, be it professional, romantic, or financial, the mother steps in. Instead of, "How can you learn from this?" she asks, "How can I fix this for you?" This denies Puer the vital experience of coping and resilience. Guilt as leverage. Puer learns to wield guilt like a weapon. When help doesn't arrive fast enough, he reminds his rescuer, "You said you'd always be there." His tears or frustration trigger an emotional obligation. The rescuer feels compelled to act, reinforcing the bond. Boundary erosion. Clear boundaries dissolve. The mother begins attending his adult meetings. The partner pays his rent. The mentor signs off on every document. What starts as kindness evolves into total intervention. 2. Psychological consequences. For Puer, stunted autonomy. He never builds the skills to navigate life independently. Every challenge feels insurmountable without external help. Chronic insecurity. Underneath his bravado lies a terror. If they stop rescuing me, I'll collapse. This anxiety lurks behind every new venture. Identity. Confusion. He struggles to separate his self-worth from others' validation. Without constant praise and protection, he feels unmoored. For the rescuer, burnout. Constant intervention demands time, energy, and emotional labor. Over time, the rescuer feels exhausted, resentful, and trapped in a cycle they cannot escape. Loss of self. The rescuer's own needs get sidelined. Their identity shifts from independent adult to perpetual caretaker. Emotional debt. The rescuer accrues an unspoken ledger, hours spent fixing problems, nights awake worrying, yet the bond remains unbalanced. 3. Breaking the psychic cord. Jung emphasized that individuation, the journey toward wholeness, requires severing the devouring mother's cord. This process unfolds in stages. Awareness. Both Puer and his rescuer must recognize the pattern. Journaling prompts. When did I last solve my own problem? Or, what cost have I paid to rescue? Ignite insight. Boundary restoration. The rescuer must practice saying no to automatic fixes, allowing natural consequences. Puer experiences a taste of discomfort, the catalyst for growth. Resilience building. Puer tackles small challenges alone, paying a utility bill, scheduling a doctor's appointment, completing a task without reminders. Each success bolsters self-efficacy. Redefining love. The relationship transforms from caretaker-child to adult-adult. Love becomes support, not rescue. The rescuer shifts from guardian to ally, offering guidance only when asked. 4. Integrating the Great Mother. Once Puer and his rescuer establish new boundaries, the Great Mother archetype can be reintegrated in a healthy form. Inner nurturing. Puer learns to self-soothe, replacing external rescue with practices like meditation, affirmations, and self-compassion. He becomes his own caretaker. Compassionate witnessing. The rescuer offers empathic presence rather than automatic fixes. They listen, validate, and ask, "What do you need to tackle this?" instead of, "Let me handle it." Ritualize support. They co-create structures, weekly check-ins with clear agendas, mutual accountability pacts, blending care with autonomy. This integration honors the original instinct, care and protection, but it transforms it into a partnership between two autonomous adults, no longer a devouring bond that arrests growth. 5. Symbolic rebirth. In myth, heroes often slay the devouring mother dragon before ascending to their rightful place. In Psyche, Puer metaphorically cuts the cord, claiming his emotional birthright. This act is both traumatic and liberating. He mourns the loss of seamless rescue, an endpoint to perpetual childhood safety. He celebrates the emergence of self-reliance, an entry into unpredictable but authentic adulthood. This rebirth does not sever connection, but recalibrates it. The Great Mother transforms from jailer to guardian spirit, offering wisdom, but never at the cost of Puer's autonomy. There comes a moment when the call to maturity outweighs the comfort of perpetual adolescence. For the eternal boy, this pivot is the crucible of individuation, the emergence of the unique self from the psychic chaos of archetypes. Jung likened individuation to a symbolic birth, painful, bloody, yet ultimately life-affirming. 1. The breaking point. Puer's cycle of create and flee becomes untenable. His unfinished projects stack up like untold stories. His relationships fray from neglect. His self-worth erodes under unspoken disappointments. He senses a void, creative potential unexpressed, authenticity unactualized. The devouring mother's cord feels like a noose, tightening each year. This crisis can be triggered by external jolt, job loss, health scare, failed relationship, events shattering the fantasy that life will always bail him out. Internal dissonance, a sudden pang of regret, a confrontation with his mirror. I'm older, yet I haven't truly lived. In this liminal space, Puer faces a stark question. How long will I dance in the wings of possibility without stepping on stage? 2. Mourning the boy. First, he must mourn the boy who once was, grieving innocence, the carefree days of childhood wonder when any new idea felt magical, lamenting unfulfilled promises, the touch of guilt or shame that these dreams never materialized. Releasing guilt, forgiving himself for procrastination, for immature escapes, for dependence. This mourning is more than nostalgia. It's a ritual of release, essential to loosening Puer's grip on his identity. Like a phoenix shedding old feathers, he must let these remnants fall away before true transformation. 3. Embracing responsibility. Maturity demands action, small steps that build reliability. Micro-rituals. Puer starts a daily practice, a 15-minute morning journal to outline one clear objective. An evening reflection on progress made, lessons learned. Incremental challenges. He sets achievable tasks, paying one bill promptly, completing an online course module, committing to a weekly date or friendship check-in. Accountability network. He partners with a trusted friend or coach who holds him to his promises, but with compassion, not judgment. Through these practices, Puer experiences the creative power of continuity. He learns that dreams flourish not in moments of brilliance, but in minutes of persistence. 4. Integrating inner child and adult. The mature self does not annihilate Puer, it integrates him. Jung's ideal, the inner child and the inner adult walk together, play with purpose. Puer's spontaneity channels into structured outlets. An art night every Tuesday, a startup sprint every month, creative writing on the weekends. Wisdom anchors. Senec's archetype, the wise elder, offers perspective. Yes, dream big. Now what's step 1? Emotional alchemy. Pain becomes fuel. Mistakes become guides and fear of failure becomes curiosity about what can be learned. This integration feels like reconciliation. The child's wonder meets the adult's resolve. The result is a balanced psyche, imaginative yet actionable, free yet grounded. 5. Awakening the true self. Through individuation, Puer claims his personal myth, a narrative authored by his fully realized self. He reclaims autonomy. Decisions arise from his values, not from fear or external scripts. Cultivates presence. Each moment becomes an opportunity for growth, whether in play or in work. Forges. Legacy, projects launched, relationships nurtured, and self-knowledge shared become his living testament. Jung wrote, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." Puer's dark nights of the soul, his grief, guilt, and fear, illuminate the path to genuine creativity and freedom. 6. Continued practice. Individuation is not a destination, but a journey. Puer's mature self remains vigilant. Periodic reflection, quarterly retreats to assess growth, adjust rituals, and renew commitments. Shadow maintenance. Ongoing dialogue with his fear, doubt, and impulse to flee, keeping them visible, not repressed. Community of growth. Engaging with peers who value both spontaneity and discipline, forging alliances that sustain evolution. In this way, Puer Aeternus, once trapped in a cycle of unmet promise, becomes a guardian of continuous rebirth, ever curious, ever evolving, and alive at every stage of life.